environment and circumstance really dictates, especially a lot of our thinking. And then our thoughts collectively over time become new beliefs, and those beliefs drive how we feel. How we feel drives our behavior, and our behavior over time forms habits, and then that dictates our results. So definitely a huge believer in that. I mean, it allows for creativity, especially when you're in kind of typically in an environment to where you're grinding, a very tactical executing, and then being able to get out of that environment and into a creative space. And I think Alex, I think it also helps reduce stress levels as well. Right. So like even thinking about for you, crazy with kids and family in Connecticut, for several weeks, and just being around a lot of people and kids and trying to juggle work and holidays. I mean, just naturally our stress levels will go up. Just even like your walk on the beach this morning and just in that environment. I mean, just how that kind of probably just melted those stress levels away for you.
Yeah, for sure, man, because it changes what you're focused on, right? You can't help but have a little bit higher level of gratitude when you're surrounded by this type of environment. So for sure, man. And listen, yeah, we're all stressed out, right? There's no doubt that any one of us could immediately flip the switch to focus on what's not working in our life, some of those stresses, and immediately go into a dark place. There's no doubt about that, right? We're all human. So what I talked about today is, but are you equipped with the proper tools to snap out of it?
That's right.
And we talked about one of the things I do is I actually write out my gratitude list and my wins. And I'm not talking significant wins. Every minor win is a win. And then I laminated those. So, if you go into my office, there's a laminated copy of my gratitudes, in my affirmations, and then my goals. I laminated that, and I also put another copy in my nightstand. I put it on in my bathroom, right on my side. So if I'm brushing my teeth, it's there. And I have it in my vehicles in my sun visor. So I surrounded myself, because you never know when something's going to go wrong. You're going to have that phone call that derails your day. So I surrounded myself by literally having it in all of my environments. And then I talked a little bit today about the practice of not just reading it in the morning, because if you can start your day on a positive focus, well, then I talked about at nighttime, reading it one more time at night, making it the last thing you read, because then your subconscious, if you've ever studied the conscious and the subconscious, your subconscious mind can't really determine fact from fiction, what's real, what's fake. So by making that the thing you read, and then getting your 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, letting that just work through your body at a subconscious level is really empowering. And can you do that habitually every day, morning to night, for the next 30, 60, 90 days? And I promise you, if you do it, life changes. All of a sudden, this is how you know life changes. You're struggling in your business, and all of a sudden you get a referral deal.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
Right.
Because you stopped focusing on the negative, because you've changed your emotional state by constantly focusing on what's good and what's right. Shit starts to kind of flow to you. And that's a little bit woo-woo, kind of out there. But unless you've experienced it and you've practiced it, you don't really know. But here's what I can tell you. If all you do is focus on what's wrong and what's negative, that shit just compounds and piles up. It's hard to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find it, right? What you search for, what you think about is what you'll see. So if you're constantly thinking about the downfalls and the problems, then that's all you'll ever see, right? I know talking about Tony Robbins, and he has that. It's the story that he tells about on the NASCAR track that set into a tailspin. You got to look down where you want to go, but if you start to look at the wall, then you'll end up in the wall. And that's just a great reminder of kind of what you're talking about, and programming yourself to look in the unconscious and conscious of where it is we want to go. And another little gangster tip, I love how you have those everywhere, but also put it on your phone, put it on your device. I mean, it's something that statistically we look at 85 to 400 times a day. Why not, if you're going to look at something 100 and 150, 200 times a day, why not look at something that's going to be beneficial and powerful for you. So being able to have that there, you were talking about just kind of from struggles. Have you seen the Jonah Hill's his therapist documentary on Netflix?
I've not. No.
It's Stutz, Stutz, and it's Jonah Hill's therapist, and so they did kind of a documentary on it. I've only watched about half of it, but in the beginning, what he talks about is that no matter what, when you feel like you don't have any control over anything, you do have control over what he calls your life force, which are three things, which is one is your body. So you have control over working out, going for a walk, what you eat, sleep. And he says 85% of our power of the life force comes from there. He said the other thing is that we have to connect with people. We have to connect with other human beings. And what he said is that you have to initiate it. You can never rely or say, well, why haven't they reached out to me? You have to be the one to initiate it. Even if you don't want to initiate it, even if you don't want to be around people, you need to be around people. You need to be around that energy. And then the top of the life force, what he talks about is tapping into yourself. And kind of what you talked about there is it's that relationship with the unconscious. And he said the easiest way to get there is journaling. And so like, even for you, what you just shared, your gratitude practice and writing down the wins, that's a form of journaling. And so that allows you to tap into you, that allows you to tap into yourself, your life force, and your unconscious. And it's something, he said that, and I was like, damn, man, that's so true, right? Even when you feel you don't have a move, and we've talked about this for years, the only time that you don't have a move is when you quit, right? When you give up. We always have a move. And even as simple as that right there, right? You have a move. You can get your ass up and you can go for a walk. You can get up. You can go to the gym. You can go for a run. You can do those things. You can control kind of what you're eating. You can make sure you're drinking enough water. You can make sure you're getting enough sleep. So it was just a really good reminder of what you're seeing, what you were saying. The other thing, Alex, that you were talking about, and you had kind of mentioned Tony Robbins, and I had a client recommend that I listen to Ed Milet's 2022 recap podcast of the highlights. And you triggered something, what you said there from listening to that podcast. And it was Tony Robbins was one of the highlights on there. And what Tony was talking about, he said one of the greatest things as human beings, the concept that we created was the concept of seasons. And he said that changed everything for us as humans, in understanding that there is always a spring, there is always a summer, there was always a fall, and there always is a winter into our lives. And seasons of our business, seasons of our lives. And I went to watch the OU game with Kurt Singer. And Kurt Singer's always been big on, hey, put in the work during this period of your life, because this period of your life will be X, and then this period of your life will be that. And what Tony was talking to Ed about on the podcast was, he said that from 0 to like 21 or 22, for most people, that's the spring of their life, right? They're being poured into the nutrition. Most of the time they're being taken care of, right? They're just living that part of their life. And then he said from 21 to 41 is usually the summer, right, of our lives. He said that's when we're fucking grinding, we're sweating it, we're putting in the work, we're doing the things. And then he said 41 to 61, 62 is kind of the fall, right? That's kind of where you see the harvest of your life, and you're harvesting kind of what you sweat in the 20s, 30s, and into your early 40s. And then he said 61 to 81 is kind of the winter. And he said that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that maybe you're not putting in as much effort, right? You're living off of everything that you harvest in your 40s and your 60s and all the work that you did. And then he said 80 to 100, 102 is just that extra borrowed time, right? To where you get to live and give and do all the things that you really want to do. And it was really awesome hearing how he articulated that and broke that down. And it's just a reminder. We all go through it, right? No matter, all of our businesses have a season of our business. all of our lives have a season of our life. It's just a season, and it's going to continue to evolve. It's going to continue to change. And I think so many people, and you know this, that they get so fixated on the now that they're just, they get stuck in that survival mode instead of thinking, hey, this is just a season. This is not forever, and being able to go through that. So I love this conversation talking about those things to really realize that, you know, we have the power to change the environment, which can change how we think and how we feel. I mean, immediately.